Well, tonight, Paul took to social media and took aim at Canelo in what he says is the champion ducking a fight with him.
Oh, Canelo, you
And this YouTuber, I just fight real fighters.
Time to expose them. So we had a signed contract to fight. Here you can see Canelo's signature and my signature to the right. Claiming he's not fighting YouTubers. Bullshit. Look at the poster. We were announcing Tuesday, February 11th. Claiming he fights real fighters, but he's fighting Crawford, a 135-pound fighter, and running from a real fighter like David Benavidez, you. The truth is, you can be bought. You're a money-hungry squirrel chasing your next nut. The truth is, these sports-washing, shady characters are paying you hundreds of millions of dollars to stop our fight from happening because they couldn't fathom the fact that they can't create a bigger fight than me and you.
Jake Paul's an absolute muppet, and he's just got played, so this is really satisfying. So as you heard, Jake Paul was set to fight Canelo, but in order to understand the context of this story and this situation, we need to go back a few days. So first off, Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford were set to fight each other on September the 13th. Then a day later, this fight was called off, and then a day later after that, Jake Paul versus Canelo Alvarez was announced, or somewhat confirmed, for May by Eddie Hearn and Jake Paul via Twitter, apparently, because then the next day, the Jake Paul and Canelo fight is called off, and the Canelo and Terence Crawford fight is made again, and also Turki Al-Sheikh has signed a 4-fight Riyadh season deal with Canelo. So unfortunately for you, Jake Paul, Canelo is going to be tied up till at least the end of 2026. But don't worry, mate, that should be just enough time for you to beat a few more retired MMA fighters. The thing is, if we go back to that original video that we played at the start of this video, Jake Paul said in the video that the contract was already signed, and he's shown the 2 signatures.
So we had a signed contract to fight.
But it turns out it was just a confidentiality agreement. It wasn't a fight contract. When you zoom in, you can literally see that it was a confidentiality agreement. That's just one more scam to add to the Jake and Logan Paul lore. Look, honestly, I know Jake Paul, he's stepping into the ring, he's training hard. There's a part of me that would like to give him credit, but he's a divvy, he's a knobhead. He makes it too hard to give him credit or be a fan of his because of his actions and the stupid decisions that he makes. When you build your career on lies, yeah, you might have millions of dollars, but there will come a point when no one will believe anything that comes out of your mouth, and people aren't going to trust you. Now, is that a worthwhile trade-off? Millions of dollars, but no one trusts you? For some, that might be worthwhile, and that's Jake and Logan Paul right now. They've lied that much over the careers. It's hard to trust anything that they say. Now, as you've seen in that first video at the start, Jake is very salty, so he has resorted to mocking Canelo on his Twitter.
Canelo, I'm coming, my puta.
And alongside that video, Jake's been having a public meltdown on his Twitter. He's just really salty that this fight didn't go through. Here's Canelo Alvarez as a duck. Very creative, Jake. I'm not too sure you know the definition of what ducking means. If you're ducking someone, it means that you're scared of the fight. It means that you don't want to smoke. Canelo Alvarez isn't ducking you. To him, you are just a YouTuber who's beat an old Mike Tyson and a few retired past the prime MMA fighters. Jake Paul said no matter how much money they spend, they won't be able to make a bigger fight than me and Canelito. That irked them to the core. And don't say Conor, he's more washed than a laundromat. Wow, okay, so he's taking even more shots at Conor. Jake Paul's really sour that he didn't get the Conor McGregor fight and Conor was talking to his brother, Logan Paul. Conor wanted nothing to do with Jake.
He was sick over it, yeah.
Jake said, dummies could have made a Canelo September fight so much bigger by letting us do our thing and me taking his names to the masses, but they knew I was going to KO his little ass. Jake, stop acting like you're the A-side. Now, Jake Paul here is acting like he is the A-side, acting like he is the draw, which couldn't be further from the truth. Now, the only arguments that Jake Paul could make is they do have 2 completely different audiences. Jake Paul has a very casual audience within the influencer world. Canelo has a massive audience within the professional boxing and casual boxing world. Now, of course, there will be some crossover of those audiences, and I actually do believe that if Jake Paul and Canelo fought, it would actually be a really big fight. pay-per-view wise, or at least just the general interest in the fight. So I can't really argue with Jake Paul there. He is onto something. Yeah, it would be a crazy fight, but no one really wants to see it. Not yet, at least. Now, Jake also has more flawed logic in that original video, which we've shown at the start. When Jake is responding to Canelo's new deal, Jake mocks the fact that Canelo is fighting Terence Crawford, who fights at 135 pounds.
But he's fighting Crawford, a 135-pound fighter.
Canelo fights around 160, 166 pounds. So Jake was making it out that Canelo is taking the easy fight because Canelo outweighs Crawford by 30 to 35 pounds. Well, by your own logic, Jake, you're also taking the easy fights, because everyone who you call out and who you choose to fight, you've got a weight and size and height advantage over them, and a youth advantage or an experience advantage. You literally cherry pick your opponents just to get easy wins. So you're having a go at Canelo saying you're fighting a 135 pounder, fight me instead, the real man. But you weigh 220 pounds, Canelo's 160 pounds. So you outweigh Canelo by 40 to 60 pounds. You're a hypocrite, Jake. Canelo's 5'7", Jake Paul's 6 foot, 6'1". However, I do still think Canelo would whoop his ass.
You're a money-hungry squirrel.
Jake also calling Canelo a money-hungry squirrel is hilarious. Jake Paul takes fights with old retired wrestling background-based MMA fighters on losing streaks and competes against them in boxing. Jake, you are 100% doing this for the money. Let's not lie here. Of course, all fighters do it for the money. Why do you think a lot of the fighters who become rich and who no longer have any hardships or adversities in their life fall out of love with the sport or go on losing streaks? Look at someone like Israel Adesanya now, recently just lost a couple of weeks ago. At one point in MMA, he was like 20 wins, 2 losses. Now he's had 4 losses in his last 6 fights or whatever it is, I can't remember. But it's because they no longer have anything to fight for. They've beat the game. They have it all now. Conor McGregor, prime example. A lot of fighters fight when they're broke in hope to eventually make money from fighting. So of course they fight for money. Jake is just jealous and bitter that Turkey Al-Sheikh stole Canelo from him. Maybe after Canelo has finished this 4-fight deal and he's done everything he needs to do in boxing and proven himself, which he's already done in my opinion, maybe then Canelo can take the Jake Paul fight and absolutely embarrass him. And hopefully by then Jake Paul will have had some more wins against actual real boxers who were his own size. Jake isn't really a real boxer. Not yet anyway. Jake is a marketer who happens to box. Look what happened when he fought a real boxer in Tommy Fury. And Tommy Fury isn't exactly a great boxer either, yet look at the work that he did on Jake. In my opinion, Jake Paul needs to focus on that Tommy Fury rematch. In fact, they both need each other right now, especially since Tommy Fury dropped out of the Darren Till fight. He needs to redeem himself. But unfortunately, Jake Paul is looking to fight smaller fighters. He's not a fighter who's looking to fight the best of the best in his division, in his weight class. He's looking to Canelo because Canelo is on top right now, but Jake also knows that he's got a massive size advantage on Canelo and could maybe at least get a moral victory, just like how Logan Paul did against Floyd Mayweather. I survived 8 rounds with the greatest boxer ever. Oh, that's just as good as a win. No, it's not. Also, this is hilarious. Turkey Al-Sheikh said this about Jake Paul.
I think Canelo too young to take this fight. You can have it after 30 years. When he is 60. Let them bring Mr. Peace and we can sanction it with Disney for the build up the YouTube.
Turkey Al-Sheikh absolutely spitting facts. Let's get Jake Paul versus Mr. Beast for the Disney belt. Officially sanctioned by YouTube. That's absolutely brilliant. Finally, one of his last meltdown tweets. Jake said this: "I'm done with this little money chasing, no respect having nut." Damn, the level of self-awareness is non-existent. So hypocritical. Bent the knee and became just like the rest. Working on finalising the next fight. Elephant emoji. Someone said, "What UFC 20 flyweight are you challenging next?" So what do you guys think? Comment all your thoughts down below. I try my best to read every single comment. YouTube thinks you'll like this video. Here's a random video I think that you might like. And then here's a video from my fitness channel. Take your pick. Please drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you on the next one.